welcome back to the Pursuit of Par, episode 7. This week took a bit of a turn because unfortunately I was a little bit ill in the middle of the week, so we didn't get to do everything we wanted, but we did manage to kick it off heading down to the Centurion Club, or rather up to the Centurion Club, to see the London Championship. I managed to get a little bit of swing practice in there, as you can see on the screen. This was a quick mini game they had set up, had a dartboard on the screen at about 50 yards, 10 balls, how many points could you get? I got 251, which I was told by the staff running it was pretty good, but I didn't see too many other people competing, so couldn't really say whether they were just fluffing me up or if it was true. The 4 or 5 people that happened before us didn't get over 50, so maybe they were telling the truth. Later in the week, I did manage to get down to the range, but it was a bit busier than I was hoping, so I wasn't able to do all the voiceover and the recording on the range as I'd hoped, just enough space to set up the camera and film some shots. As I've talked about in previous weeks, really trying to get the driver dialed in, because when we get out to Portugal, it is a long course and those tee shots are going to be pivotal to scoring low. So tweaking some different things and trying some different approaches to what people are saying is the now good approach for driver. I've actually moved the ball slightly back in my stance because it was previously very far forward, which means my club is late in its path, the swing path, so it's very much coming across the ball. To move it back, puts it a little bit earlier, means the club's travelling a little bit straighter when it hits and should make a smoother drive. I had hit and miss success with this, but there's still some work to be done. Then finally on Friday, I did actually manage to make it to a course and we managed to play 18 holes. This was with a friend of mine that's actually coming to Portugal. He's definitely the best golfer that's going to be on the trip. So I got out there a little bit early and tried to get myself some practice in. There was a fantastic putting green and practice facility there. Unfortunately, I wanted to do short game, but the chipping area was being watered, so I couldn't do that. But I did get a lot of putting in. What I was doing here was set up 5 balls from 6 feet. Every ball that went in was 1 point, and I needed to get 15 points, or all 5 in one round to move on to the next drill. Given how straight these putts seemed, it took me a lot longer than I think I'd like to admit, but it was some good practice. They had closed the course most of the morning. We were the first tee time, and that was at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. They had closed the course for maintenance all morning. So every green was in very good condition and just like the practice area. So it was wonderful practice for what it was actually like when we got out there. But yeah, I definitely had a little bit of aiming issues with some of these shots. I had good weighting. I had no issues getting them close to the hole and stopping them close to the hole for the most part. But every now and again, just a little bit left or a little bit right. Just got to keep that angle straight, keep the balls pointed directly at the hole, even for a lack of break. But ultimately, it took me quite a few rounds to get to that 15-point mark. And I'm going to try and do this as often as I can and try and bring those numbers down. The slight problem I have is that my local course, the putting green is not even remotely flat. And okay, I want to practice putts that have a break here and there, but to replicate this scenario, it needs to be straight. And when I say it's not even remotely flat, I mean it is way off. We're hitting that putts at almost 45, 90 degrees in some cases away from the pin for it to roll back around and get accurate. Once I did finally get my 15 points on the 6-foot putts, I upped it to 12-foot putts. These ones, I gave myself 3 points per putt, so I only had to get 5 of them in to manage to make it. And, well, it took about as long as the 6-foot putts did. Again, the weighting was nowhere near as bad as it could have been. I was quite happy with the weighting and getting them close to the hole each time. But there was a bit more break that I was just struggling to read for some instances, and it did just turn away at the last moment, or here or there. So finding that right groove to hit it through the break while also landing it close, could definitely do some improvement. You saw in that last round, I should have moved the balls out. I probably could have putted at least 2 of those if I'd moved the previous balls out of the way and given myself space, but alas, I didn't, so didn't get the points, just means more practice. At this point, 3 rounds in, I've only putted 2 balls. Definitely glad we did the practice, but did have a bit of a roll here, so I managed to get 3 of that last round in. But then trying to get the last singular putt, that last 3-point mark. I was on 12 at this moment, and that took a fair while. 2 more full rounds of putting. So I'll leave you to watch those out without my nattering. So we did then finally get out onto the course to play our 18 holes. I didn't film every single shot. One, my friends don't yet know that I'm doing this YouTube channel. I'm keeping it quiet until I can actually stay consistent. So one, that's why it's blurred out. And two, I don't know, I just didn't want that added pressure on. I wanted to focus on the round, focus on catching up with my mate, and just use this as a bit of a highlight reel. But also that kind of worked out in my favour, because as you can see from these shots that I've been running in the background, I was playing awful golf. Some of my worst ever. Now, in my defence, this was a very hard course. But that only matters when you're actually hitting the ball. I was duffing it left, right and centre and just getting it nowhere and just making colossal mistakes straight off the tee when it was meant to be easy.
This time we're rolling down.
So it was not a pretty round. I shot 125 in the end and lost about 10 balls. Truth be told, it might have even been higher. While I was counting my shots and trying to add penalties on, it probably wasn't the most accurate by the end of it. It was just a sky-high score. Ultimately, there is a lot of learnings from it. The second half of the round was better than the first. I think, I didn't realise it, but I was a lot tenser in the first half than I expected. I really relaxed as the second half ran through and had far better shots and far better control. So, whatever reason that was, maybe I just need to find a better way to relax, not try and swing so hard, just try and swing relaxed. Again, I didn't feel like I was trying to swing hard, but there was a clear difference when I relaxed and chilled out and didn't swing so bad. So yeah, there's some learnings. Also, it was really, really hot. It was 30 plus degrees. I felt like I was playing in a sauna the entire time. So that's good practice for Portugal, hopefully. But all in all, an up and down week as far as practice goes, as far as prep goes, but it's good to have a quiet one. Thanks for watching this slightly different episode of The Pursuit of Par. I'll be back next week, hopefully with a regularly scheduled program, proper structured practice. I've actually recruited a form of coach to try and structure these last 4 weeks a little bit better. So we'll see how that goes. But if you have made it this far, please like, subscribe, all that normal good fashioned YouTube stuff. And I hope you have a wonderful week.